everyone. I'm Christine Tully, President and Executive Writing Coach at Defend, Publish, and Lead, and welcome to episode 239, Professional Development Funding. As you can imagine, many academics are scrambling a little bit about our professional development landscape at the moment. Our grants are uncertain or not funded at all. Budgets are cut at our universities. There's not as much funding to go around. It's uncertain if you'll get it or when. And at this time of year, we're starting in August of 2025 when this episode will come out. Many university budgets are resetting. So, for example, for my professional development funding for the year, some of it got reset. Not all of it, but some of it got reset at this particular moment. And so many academics that we work with as clients have asked questions like, well, I have money, I don't know how long it will be there, or there's just a limited pot. So if I don't apply soon, I'm not going to be able to, get some money later, and I'm not sure what to apply for. And so I just wanted to do a quick episode on what I'm thinking about for professional development funding this year, knowing that yes, there's some money available, but not a lot. And obviously, I need to prioritize what I want to do, but then there's certain rules about things like if you go to a conference in the spring of 2026, you have to apply for funding then. I can't do it right now. So there's all of those things. So these are the ways I'm sort of starting to think through what I'm going to do with faculty development funding that I know is available right now and that I could spend right now. So the first thing that I'm going to look at is basically out of all the organizations and all the scholarly journals, everything I have, what would be a number one priority for me that I would pay for on my own and I would want anyway? That seems sort of counterintuitive, but to me, that suggests what is the most important thing. So for a long time for me, it used to be my disciplinary flagship journal. I definitely wanted to join the organization, get the journal, get the discounted conference rate. And for a long time, that was number one for me. It's still a priority for me. It's not number one. At the moment, not my number one right now, and this is, I talked about TAA being a sponsor on our podcast, so probably no surprise to anyone, but my membership in the Textbook and Academic Authors Association would be the first priority. I always talk about how this is my cheapest membership for the year. There's lots of discounts, less than $100 for the year, but this is, even if it wasn't that, or they weren't a podcast sponsor, this is why I liked the organization and why I did a lot with them way before they became a podcast sponsor. But one of the things that I try to think about with professional development funding is what is going to move my writing and my scholarship forward. So this particular organization continually puts in new writing tools, lots of things like, for example, like a writing log or a list of ways or questions to ask yourself as you're doing a revise and resubmit. There's tons of free videos that have already been recorded on topics like how to negotiate a book contract, things like that. So for me, because the content is continually renewed and there's new things in it all the time, to me, for less than $100, to me, that's sort of a no-brainer. Out of faculty development funding, I will pick that as a first thing to renew. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I'm going to think about doing with my limited pool of faculty development funds is I do have two different fall conferences where registration is open. I need to probably join the organization, at least for one of them. They both don't require that, but I know that I probably need to for at least one of them. So 2 conference registration fees and probably a membership fee will come out of that bucket. Fortunately, neither one of these is crazy expensive. It's a chunk. So between joining the Textbook and Academic Authors Association and then taking care of these organization conference fees, between those two things, that's 2/3 of the money that's available right there. So thinking about that, I'm picking them in that order because these are priorities. I've already been accepted at these conferences. I'm already planning to go. I've selected them for lots of reasons, but at least for these 2 fall conferences, one is very, very important to Defend, Publish, and Lead, so I'm going anyway, but the other one is very close to me geographically, so it didn't require like flights and all that. So just cost-wise, it's pretty cost efficient. So with any remaining money, there's 2 things that I'm looking at. A third thing that I'm looking at is and this is not a decision I've made yet, but it would be, are there any tools or memberships or some kind of subscription for a software that I want? Some academics, for example, will get a higher level of AI if they used AI all the time. I know one year I decided I really wanted this really good transcribing software. Now AI has been much better with things like Zoom and all that, and you can get meetings transcribed. But a couple of years ago, when I had to make this decision, I really wanted to put some money into that because I was doing interview research and it saved me so much time if the transcripts weren't messed up. So there could be something like that that's in your professional development bucket. Another thing this year, that's not going to be something that I pick, but I am thinking in general about tools, resources, books, anything that I think I might need to get more of my writing completed. So, I'm totally interested, of course, in the scholarly productivity conversation. So it could be something like that because I'm writing about it anyway. It could be more of a tool that will help me get some things done. So one of the things that I did invest in a while back was a pen that I could do some audio dictation. Like I could click the pen and just make like a voice memo into the pen. That technology is kind of dead tech again too, but at the time that was really kind of a good thing to have. So it was something that I wanted to get. But that's the way that I'm kind of thinking about some of these things. Other things, though, that I am looking for professional development would be, do I need any kind of mentoring or is there anything like that that I need to do? Or maybe a different organization I want to try. Or I mentioned my flagship organization. That one also does not cost very much. And with any spring funding that might become available to me, that will be one that I go to renew. And if I had to pay for it out of pocket, it would not be the end of the world. But I just trying to look for that next thing, like what else could really help me push writing forward. So as you're thinking about spending faculty development funding, I might encourage you to just sort of prioritize like what's the number one organization that you use the most, or the journal that you read the most, or the thing that really like keeps you in touch with your disciplinary community. That's probably the first thing where funds could be spent, but also any kind of conferences or, yearly renewals on your academic memberships or things like that. Other people have to do subscriptions for things like in vivo, or you need certain tools for like coding or whatever. I would try to make a priority list in terms of, what can you do, and then look at what happens, when the money runs out, what has to go on hold. And then part of that conversation, of course, is looking at other places you might be able to get it in your university. So sometimes I'll find that I really need to know how to do something. And so it might be worth I partner up with a couple other faculty members. We book an hour of coaching time with somebody that is really good at a certain type of methodology to teach all of us at the same time. That's something we do it at Defend, Publish, and Lead. Some of you are already working with our writing coaches and doing coaching hours with us, which are on special, by the way. Definitely is the cheapest time of year to buy them. So if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, you can check us out at defendpublishandlead.com. There's a button on the homepage that just says click for a free consultation. So certainly you can buy some things. This would be another strategy to think through, like, what can I buy that is not going to expire that I could use again? So in our case, coaching hours you can stack those up. We also would do, if you need a couple faculty members to learn something and have like a group session, that is something we do. That's something I've done myself with other faculty members to learn how to do something. Other things you might consider would be, let's say you have a weird amount, like $6.99 left. I will even look to see, well, what is something that I could use that won't expire? So, maybe it's some sort of office supply, or maybe that would get me, some kind of like PDF that would be really helpful that's on Etsy. Etsy is kind of crazy for making like really good PDFs that you can print yourself about all sorts of scholarly things, from writing logs to how to arrange a dissertation and all that. So, I really do try to think about, if that money is allotted and if I don't spend it, I'm going to lose it. I do really try to think about different ways to spend through and get some of those things. So in our show notes, I'll put some links up for some of the things that I mentioned today, but I encourage you to really think strategically about faculty development funding. funding at this current moment. At many universities, it can be clawed back at any moment, so it is always to your advantage to spend it now, and spend it on something that will really push your writing forward. So hopefully that's helpful. If you need some help thinking through some different ways you might do that, you certainly can reach out to us for that. And happy writing this week.